Hello and welcome to Shop Talk with Dan the Man. Today's video we're going to discuss personally my top 5 hand tools that you need starting off in your workshop. Stay tuned to find out more.
Hello, if you're new to this channel, my name is Dan Shannon. I enjoy woodworking as a hobby and being out in the shop. On this channel, dive deep into my shop as we explore tools and tool reviews, as well as chatting about everything related to woodworking. If this grabs you by the tool belt, please subscribe to my channel if you want more videos like this.
Welcome back to Shop Talk with Dan the Man. If you're new here, welcome. If you're returning, thanks for coming back. Let's jump into the top 5 hand tools that I would recommend when you're starting off your shop. So, tool number 1, a tape measure. So, when you get out in your shop, there's a lot of projects you might want to start with. Well, in order to build really anything, you need a tape measure. Now, there's lots of tape measures on the market, lots of lengths, 16 feet, 25 feet, different brands to go with for tape measures. This is just a Kent one, very cheap, very inexpensive. My nice one is a Mastercraft. You can get Fat Max. There's many different types of brands out there for tape measures. And typically, a decent tape measure is going to have a pretty long extension before there's a breaking point. And because of that, there's different widths of tape. So I would recommend getting something at least 16 feet long, because your average board you're going to cut inside your shop will be the 16. 25, you're going to get a bigger size tape measure. It's going to be a little cumbersome on your clip on your side or in your tool belt. So maybe stick with something that's about 16 feet or under, because the average cut that you're going to do in your shop won't be that long. So that would be what I would recommend. Also, your metal tip on the end, over time will get bent slightly. So you want to double check to make sure your reading's still accurate. Some tape measures over time, as they hit the bottom of the wood, they stick a little bit below the tape measure itself, so they'll bend out over time. So at first you'll have a straight stop anchor, and then over time it'll start to adjust, and then that'll change your measurement. And not all tapes are created the same. So what I mean by that is A, quality, and B, actual measurement. So really, at the end of the day, as long as your tape says if you go to 9 inches and that's the measurement you're using for your project, that's great. But if you switch tape measures in between, just make sure they're all reading the same, because like I said, the end stop might bend out over a while or have a little bit of play in it, which will change your measurement. So tape measures. So that's one of the first hand tools I would recommend for starting off in your shop. Go online, do some reviews, maybe chat with different people. Maybe your dad used a certain brand tape measure that you prefer growing up. The newer ones have a lot of newer tech in them, different stops, different adjustments. Some of them have lasers. Sky's the limit as far as tape measures. But around here, I just have a very basic tape measure, nothing special. Gets the job done. You can get an accurate reading for your cuts. All right, let's jump into tool number 2. So the second hand tool I would recommend is squares. Now, a lot of times you're going to have a board that you want to cut. You got your tape measure, so you just measured your line. And once you've figured out where your line is, you're going to want to do a straight cut. You just take your tape measure and you measure off where you'd like to cut. In this case, we'll say 4 inches. Do a little pencil mark. And you're going to want to take a speed square and get your straight edge. So as you can see, I just have my line, but I need to actually get a straight edge. This hand tool is very genius as far as I'm concerned. You can use your base, it'll line up to the edge of the board, and then you can draw your line for your straight cut. So you just line it up, slide it over, and then there's your line. Very slick, very easy. That gives you a very good straight line to work with for cutting. And also, this speed square has a pivot point, so you can do different degrees. And that's very easily done. You just line it up on the board. I'll show you this way. And you just, where it says pivot, you just pivot the square, and then that'll give you your different degrees. And once you get to the degree that you prefer or that you're trying to cut, you just take your pencil, do your line, and then there's your degree for your cut. So it does multiple degrees. You know, I use this, actually I bought this tool originally for cutting rafters. So I was cutting the bird's mouth out of my woodshed, and I needed the different cuts or the different angles. So this square came in handy for that. But I actually use this for the entire project because I could just score the line and hold the actual square on and use my circular saw, and this acted as a guide once I lined my blade up, and then I could just run my circular saw through. So this acted as well as a backstop for my circular saw. So multi-purpose, this tool here, and I would definitely recommend having one of them. The other one that you can buy that I don't actually own is a framing square. So it's basically a long L-shaped piece of metal, and it's made for, like, say, a sheet of plywood, or if you're doing like a longer, say, table or a wide countertop, the framing square would come in handy just because it's long and it can cover more area than this can. You know, for the project. So every tool has its place, like I've said before. And a framing square, I can put a picture right here of the framing square so you can have an idea of what that looks like. I do not own one yet, but that's something I'll have at some point. And the next square we're going to talk about is a combination square. So I originally had this before I got this speed square. And what I love about this is it has a measuring ruler on it, and then has an adjustable kind of a dial in the middle, so you can change you push in on it and you can change your different lengths. This is just a mastercraft. I've had this for probably 20 years, maybe longer. Long time I've had this for, and it's just a great tool. You got a level here, so depending on what you're squaring up, you can make sure that it's true when you're getting your line. So that's a great feature there. It's a combination square because you can do different angles with it. So you have your 90 degree, then you switch around, and there's your 45. So you can just line it up on your board like this, and then there's your 45 cut, just like that. So it's a great square to use. Like I said, you got the adjustment for length and size. Another great thing is there's a little dent on the top for marking with your pencil. So you can stick your pencil in there, and if you had to do, say, multiple lines, say you wanted your board to be 2 inches, so you just bring your adjustment up, and then you tighten it up, and then you have 2 inches right there, and then you can run that whole thing right along and get a very accurate cut and line. So I would do a little score there, a little mark, bring it over here, do a little mark, and then take my straight edge and then line the two up, and then I can get a nice cut. So that's good for a longer board. If you don't have a framing square, you can use this to do the different markings, or you can take a tape measure and do the same thing with the markings. Just line it up and do your mark and then connect them all together with the board. So yeah, speed square, this is great. You know, for a combination square rather, this is great for lots of projects, and I've had this for a long time and I use it constantly, and it's very easy to use, and that's one of the reasons why I prefer having it in the shop. And it gives you really good length. You can cut or do a line up to this long, which is quite a big stretch across your board, which I enjoy as well. So that's it for squares. So you have your speed square, your framing square, and then combination. So I'd recommend having those in your shop. Framing square, like I said, depending on the projects you normally do. I haven't seen the need to have one yet. However, there's projects where it would have came in handy to get that nice long line on the project I was working on. All right, so let's jump into the next tool I would recommend. Okay, so hand tool number 3 that I would recommend for your shop, and every shop really needs these tools. Really any project you do needs a tape measure and a square, and then of course to glue your project together you're going to need clamps. Now when it comes to clamps, there's many different types of clamps that you can buy. The only clamps I personally own, and like I said, I have a small shop, I'm slowly building up my inventory of tools, but I have these quick grip Irwin quick grips, and I do a review on these on my channel as well, so you can check that video out here. Yeah, these are quick grips, very easy to use. You got a couple boards you want to glue together, you just line them up and then squeeze the trigger until you get the pressure you need, and that's it, all glued up, ready to roll. And then when you once it dries, you just back off the clamp, and that's it. So very convenient. You get different sizes of these. This is a medium size, this is the large, and then of course this project here, if I was gluing these two small pieces, you actually have really small ones, and of course every tool is designed for the right job, and in this case this would be the perfect size for a smaller project, say you're doing a jewelry box or something. So these would be quick grips for vices or clamps rather, and you can get F clamps. So those are a metal bar. I'll put a picture here of an F clamp, metal bar. It's got a stop plate, and then it has an adjustment that runs along the metal track, and then once it gets to its spot, it clamps up. So those are really nice clamps. I do not own any of those as of right now. I do have you know, some mind to get those at some point. And then the other clamp is a pipe clamp, and it's exactly what it sounds like. I'll put a picture right here of this pipe clamp. Basically it's a pipe, it has an end piece, and then it has an adjustment clamp that slides along it up until you get to your project, and then you just ratchet it with the adjustment piece, and then it just of course adheres the two projects together, two boards rather. But what that's great for, and I really would like to get a bunch of them, is for say a coffee table or a dining room table. You've got multiple pieces of wood, quite long, different lengths, and you want to clamp those all together. These pipe clamps are super handy. So you do one below, one above, one below, one above, just to keep the boards from not arcing as you're clamping. So at some point, like I said, I'm just starting off, I would like to get the you know, a bunch of pipe clamps for my shop. And yeah, that's pretty much it for clamps, the different styles. These are great for my use. As of right now, there's a few times where the pipe clamps would have come in quite handy just because of the project I was doing and the width of the boards. The fourth tool I would recommend for your shop starting off is a hammer. Now, there's different types of hammers, different weights of hammers, hammers to do different things. There's framing hammers. This one is a 16 ounce. You can get 12 ounces, 20 ounces for hammers. And depending on what you're doing, this for me was perfect. It's made by Eastwing. I really like Eastwing as a product. They make really good stuff. This is a solid metal, so there's no head that slides on. Some of the cheaper ones are wood. They have a metal head that slides on with a wedge on the top. And over time, as you're hammering, the wedge can back out and then you can lose the head. So I like the one piece that I got. That's Eastwing. I must have had this for over 20 years. Long time. It's lasted. Works great. It's not too heavy, and of course you can back out your nails with the fork on the back. And kind of in the same family as hammers is mallets. So mallets are great, more for woodworking than say the hammer. This is more for construction or taking nails out. But in the same family would be the mallet. So the mallet's great if you have a project where you have to hit two boards together, or if you're putting in, like say you pre-drill some holes and you want to put in some plugs. You know, a metal hammer will mark up your boards and probably break your plugs, but a rubberized mallet would be great for just tapping in gently into the project. Same with wooden ones, you can build them. My dad has a few that he made, a handle and a block, and then you just put a peg through it. So when your handle goes into the block, you can just slide a peg. Those are really nice. I'll put a picture here of some ones that you can build out of wood. I don't have any at some point. That's a project that would be great to build in the shop. Make some wooden mallets in different sizes too, smaller ones, bigger ones, depending on what you're doing. Super handy to have. So that would be the fourth hand tool I recommend, is having a decent hammer and a mallet in your shop. So the fifth hand tool I would recommend for a shop starting off would be a level. So there's many different types of levels, torpedo levels, you know, levels that have different measurements on them, tape measures on the end. You know, sky's the limit, I guess, for different levels. I got a small one kicking around somewhere that I use a lot. It's about this big. It's magnetic, so you can stick it on your toolbox. Just super nice to have, a traveler one. But this is my next level I use all the time for outside building, or in the shop, or even in your house if you're hanging a shelf, you know, that you built with your tools. You need something to make sure that that's level on the wall, and a level is a great way to do that. Now this one here is a Mastercraft, and this is the Maximum series. I really like the Maximum series because they have a lifetime warranty, so anything that happens with your the chemical that's in your level on either side, or the glass breaks or something happens, they'll replace the level for free. And this one here has two hooks, so you can hang it up in your shop off to the side when you're not using it. It's got really nice cutaways for your hands, which is nice as well. Now, sometimes you need something a little bit longer. I've run into that. You're doing a wall or something that is quite long. You'd need a bigger level or longer level. Some of them you can get, you know, 6 feet. Like it's pretty nuts what you can get for levels. And of course, same thing. There's different qualities, different sizes of levels. You know, this one was a cheap one. It was on sale. It's just metal, Stanley. There's not much to it as far as, you know, it's very basic. This is a 48-inch level, and I got that, like I said, because this one wasn't quite long enough when I was framing in a wall. I just wanted that extra reach to make sure that the wall was level all the way across, and when I was putting the boards in for my studding. So yeah, this is perfect for the shop, and like I said, I got a smaller one for smaller jobs if I'm hanging a shelf. And you can also get these, Mastercraft makes one, there's different brands that make them. They stick on the wall and will actually shoot a beam laser out, and that'll give you your leveling. So if you are hanging pictures or, you know, frames or anything, it'll give you that straight line. You just peg in the device and then the beam shoots across the wall. It's really cool. I used to have one. It's like a combination tool, stud finder, all that. But yeah, I'd recommend for sure having a level in your shop. All right, so that concludes the 5 tools that I would recommend starting off in your shop. I mean, the list is a mile long for tools, and it was really hard to narrow down specifically what tools I'd recommend. You know, you can get into chisels. It's more like hands-on, but I don't personally do much chiseling, or at least I haven't thus far. But that might be another tool that I would recommend as part of the 5. Let's jump into some final thoughts. So some final thoughts on today's video. Basically, I picked out 5 hand tools that I thought would be great. Someone just starting off, you know, they have no idea what they would like to use or need in their shop just to get started. And yeah, these are 5 tools that I thought would make the list, the top 5. But, you know, depending on what you're doing for projects or what your hobby is, some people just do scroll work. So a lot of these tools won't really factor in, but the average person that's doing woodworking, these tools would be a great asset to their shop. And like I said, the list goes on and on as far as hand tools that you can get to personalize your shop. And sometimes, you know, if you're doing a project, it's literally as you work what you need. I didn't know I needed a longer level until I started building a wall outside and needed that extra length to level off the wall. So just scenarios like that, you might dive into a project and say, oh man, I need A, B, and C, and you don't have it on hand. You got to go to the store and purchase it. So there's times like that where you know, don't need a tool, and then all of a sudden you do for some reason. So there's that part. But yeah, hopefully this helps you out, you know, picking some top 5 hand tools for your shop. And as always, thanks for watching. Please give me a thumbs up on this video. And if you haven't already and you'd like to be part of the Shop Talk family, please click on that subscribe link below. I appreciate that a lot. And yeah, have yourself a great day. And don't forget, check out this video here.